Speaking of Ghostbusters, let's do a deep dive. We
Okay.
have a section called Deep Dive.
Okay, love that.
I want to hear what inspired the lyrics. How'd you get into the writing and the arrangements of that song? When you walked in, I'm messing with you, but I'm like, bro, like you kill that song. And the second half is, well, I guess the last stanza when you just open up vocally on it and you're just going crazy, showing people what you do.
Thank you.
Tell me
bro.
about it.
So I'm glad that you appreciate it because there was a conversation before the song came out, like we should take the bridge out because the DSPs and streaming and it's like, but then I also saw something go viral on Twitter where they're like, please bring back the bridge.
Bring back the bridge.
Yeah, and even some of my peers who I look to like as having integrity and being like rebellious, they're like, you might want to take the bridge out. And I was like, I'm gonna rest on this and I'm gonna fall on this sword that people are gonna connect more to this part than any part of the song because that's the part of the song where you're like, okay, that nigga really felt that shit.
Yes.
That's where, and that's what it was in the '90s when. Wanye on End of the Road, he goes, "Oh my God, my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do."
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's when you say, "Oh, like the person I'm listening to actually believes what they're singing."
Yeah.
So that was important to me for Ghostbusters. Ghostbuster. I keep saying Ghostbusters because my manager says Ghostbusters and the movie.
I just went and saw the movie not long ago.
Yeah, and that wasn't planned.
That's crazy.
Do you know that? Like that was one of the most pivotal movies for me as like a baby, and I love that movie so much. But did the song maybe like 8 months ago, planned the whole thing, shopped the record deal, did the deal, lined up the single, and then like found out the movie comes out the week after the single comes out. That's crazy,
That
right?
is crazy.
Little things like that remind me that God is real.
Come on.
But yeah, the song got started with Rel and a group of guys, Danye, and I just was going through a really bad breakup around that time. And I was just like, I want to do a song that encapsulates this moment that I'm in.
Yeah.
So I drove all the way to the IE, like an hour and a half by myself, recorded the song in their bedroom. Well, not their bedroom, but Danye, he had a girl over and his roommate had a shorty over.
Come on.
I know I was like definitely a vibe killer.
Yeah.
But I was like, I got to record it. So he's like, tonight? I was like, I got to record it tonight. So he's like, all right.
When the feeling's on. You
Right? We couldn't get a studio in time. He was like, I got to set up in my room.
Yeah.
Sat in the room, and I was in there hollering. The vocal that you're hearing was me. So I know they was out there like, is he serious right now? Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice. So in terms of but the story behind that song, like I want to hear what made you, because you go pretty lyrically, you're going deep into that. You actually you're telling a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And it's heartfelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danye, man. I think it's always exciting when I collaborate with other really great storytellers.
Yeah.
And helping me take something that I was going through personally, but also putting it in a universal language. Like when you really dig into it, it's not always what's happening to you, but sometimes what's happening with you and for you.
Yeah.
And I had to ask myself, why do I keep dating the same person over and over and over? There were ghosts and demons in my past that I haven't yet been made peace with. And you attract that to you.
Wow.
And I just kept attracting those traumas from my childhood, abandonment issues, codependency issues. And I attract those same people who are looking at me to solve all their problems at the same time. So sometimes it's also what's happening with us.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to start holding myself accountable and not necessarily always being like, oh, you did me wrong, you did me dirty, like, how could you? And what am I doing to myself? What self-sabotaging is happening internally that I could stop so that I could appreciate the love I deserve when I am met with it? Yeah. And that's what that song is about.
Awesome. And they say some of the best songs are birthed from pain.
It is.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I feel like we're doomed as artists.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like the moment you stop feeling pain, does the good music stop?
And what the fans don't understand is I got to keep performing this song.
Exactly.
And I got to go through this to make you feel it when I'm performing it. But it's a trauma.
Exactly. Oh, this album is so traumatic. Like, I promise you, I shouldn't say this, but I'm ready to, I can't wait till it comes out.
Yeah,
so I can start singing Happy. I already went to the studio and I started writing Happy because the album is so, that place in my life, I never want to go back. I never want to go back to that place.
Yeah. So I heard you mention that when 8 months ago, you started working on this song and you worked out a deal. Who did you do the deal with?
So I ended up going with Monarch. It was I think at the end, when it came down to it, was between Republic and Warner, and I almost went back to the majors, and I told myself I wouldn't. But prior to that, I just did like a mixtape where I was having fun with it.
Sure.
But I guess as artists, we're competitive at heart, and we want the music to get to the people and actually affect the world in a way.
Yeah.
So when I think my fans, I felt like they got to the point where like, okay, bro, like how many DIY projects you gonna give us? Like, we're used to you having your visuals look a certain type of way. We're used to you presenting it a certain type of way.
Sure.
And so I was like, damn, I said I would never do a major, but I was having those conversations because you do want a machine.
Yeah.
Because we're in the music business.
That's right.
And luckily, but I was getting a lot of anxiety because sitting in those rooms, a lot of these A&Rs are, it's like musical chairs.
Yeah.
Like, so some of the A&Rs
here today, gone tomorrow.
That was here today, gone tomorrow, but also some of the A&Rs that were at Def Jam were in my Warner meetings. And like some of the A&Rs that were at Atlantic were in my Republic meetings. And I was kind of like, oh my God, like it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, you know what, I don't know if I'm really at peace enough to go back to the trauma that I thought I got over. I'm not okay with it.
Sure.
And Hoodie was like, there's a company that has the same infrastructure. It's a record label and it's a record deal.
Yeah.
And it'll be similar, but you'll be able to do a joint venture and more so of a partnership. So they won't try to tell you how to make your music. They won't control you. They'll just kind of. And I sat with them and I was like, wow. And it is exactly what I want and what I think is the future of the music industry, where somebody comes to you and says, we get it. We won't try to mess up what's working. If it's not broken, we won't try to fix it. But here's how we can maximize and elevate your vision and where you're trying to go with it. So
nice.
Yeah, I feel the same machine I had at Def Jam with a lot less of the noise.
Can we talk? Can we talk? Can we talk?